children. To health.
To getting through this dinner in one piece.
Cheers.
أهلا بيكم. ضيف النهاردة بسهولة نقدر نطلق عليه سوبر ستار حقيقي، الكاتب الهولندي هيرمان كوخ، صاحب الرواية الأشهر ليه العشاء، واللي تم ترجمتها وتقديمها في 50 دولة مختلفة ونجحت نجاح باهر بأكتر من 2.5 مليون نسخة مباعة. اتحولت لفيلم سينما من 3 دول مختلفة هنتعرف عليهم بعد شوية. هنتكلم معاه عن الشهرة وأن تكون كاتبا من الأكثر مبيعا، طريقته في الكتابة وأبطاله غير المحبوبين. وهيساعدنا في ده المترجم محمد عثمان خليفة، واللي ترجم له 3 روايات مع دار العربي. وبما إن هيرمان مشجع مخلص لأياكس أمستردام، ولقائنا معاه عبر زوم كان تاني يوم نهائي تشامبيونز ليج، فالبداية ما كانتش أبدا عن الكتابة، لكنها كانت كروية جدا.
Hello, Herman.
Hello.
Hello.
Amr.
Of course, you watched yesterday final, Champions League final or not?
Oh yes, of course. I watched every Champions League game
Yes.
for the last. This very intense. I even watched the other one, the Europe League, the UEFA Champions League with Sevilla and Inter Milan. And I'm a big.
What do you think about the match, and who did you support yesterday?
I'm more by history because of my family and everything, with the connection between Amsterdam and Barcelona. In the first place, I'm a Barcelona fan. So I didn't go, like I couldn't sleep after the 8-2 with Bayern Munich. But I thought it was maybe a good moment for Barcelona to reorganize themselves,
Yes, yeah.
And I will never be a Bayern Munich fan, never in my life, but I have to admit that they have a beautiful game.
Yeah. Can Ajax repeat what they did last season in Champions League and even win the title?
Of course. Yes, we will. Ajax is in very good form and had very young players, and they're very good. And last year I went to the game with my son. I went to the Madrid Ajax game, the 1-4 result, and it was one of the best moments we had in our football life. My son, he's 25, and then he was 24, of course. And we still have movies and pictures from that event, and it was a wonderful time. But I'm looking forward, certainly, because Ajax is classified directly now that Lyon is eliminated. No, because it was some kind of had to do with some calculating.
Yes.
And looking forward at the season, even with half or empty stadiums.
Yeah.
You get accustomed to it. Did you watch? Are you yourself like football fan?
Yes, I am supporting Juventus.
Well, okay. That's okay.
This is the same. We didn't won the title about 25 years.
No.
I think like Ajax. Yes, it's a very long time.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If my comedian part of the career influenced my prose stuff.
Yes.
It certainly has, because when you're inventing a character to bring it on television, you have to think how this person talks and how he expresses himself. That's more important even than what he literally says. So for me, this is a kind of first person talk that you hold like another person. And it helped me a lot in developing a style, because almost all my books it's one character holding
in first person narrator. And how did Herman's life change after the dinner novel? And what do you don't like about being famous Herman Koch?
Oh, that's a good question. Of course, it changed my life a lot. Also, I have to say first, of course, economically, I suddenly realized that I didn't have to do anything on the side. That from then on, I could just write what I always wanted. But of course, before that, I had television, I had other things, I had journalistic things, I wrote columns in newspapers. And then I left everything and I concentrated on writing. And this is a very relaxed feeling, that it's just writing. Certainly at the age where I started this, because I was 55 when the dinner was published. What I don't like about being this kind of famous, is that people think a best-selling writer or a bestseller, maybe it's not literature, or it's it's like a genre. It's just bestsellers, the books that are sold on airports. But I myself, I was always, when I was on an airport, particularly far away from home, like in China, Australia, and I saw The Dinner or another of my books on the airport, that was really the moments I thought, I have really made it. I'm there. I'm among the airport books.
Yeah.
I didn't think never before I thought about this like an ambition. It was just a result. I thought, yes, the people who are traveling or picking up a book at last minute choice, now they can choose my book as well. And I always felt good about this when I saw a little mountain of books on an airport.
Yeah. For the writer, should he wait for this great success or just write?
Oh, I think you should just write. Yeah, that's it. The important thing is that you write. You shouldn't think about for whom you are writing. Mostly I'm writing, like, for example, I write a chapter and I think maybe I read a small part of it to my wife later on the day, and let's see if she will laugh or how she reacts. So that's a kind of motivation for me. But for the rest, it's the difficult thing is when you write, for example, a successful book, then you can have the two reactions. You can think, I must write a similar book so that the readers will buy and like this other book, or you think, I will do something completely different so the readers will think, what's he doing now? And should we like this as well? And I think both reactions are wrong. You should just, that's why it's the best thing to do is, that's one of the things about writing a famous book, that you think every critic after that will say, he's repeating himself, or now he has written a book nobody will read, So you must, in between the two extremes, you must find your own choice.
كتير من أبطال هيرمان كوخ بيكونوا سياسيين، ففي رواية العشاء الأخ سياسي شهير ومرشح إنه يكون رئيس للوزراء. أما في رواية التي واللي هتصدر النسخة العربية منها قريبا، البطل هو عمدة مدينة أمستردام. سألناه ليه بيفضل الكتابة عنهم وإنه بيشوفهم دايما مثيري للاهتمام.
Yes, it is, because we see, all of us, we see politicians around us. They're on the television every day, and they invade our lives, and we have our opinions about them. And so I feel that it interests me not so much to depict the politician or to satirize the politician, but get in his mind and get in his head and think, why is he like he is? So in The Dinner, there was a politician, and also in the last book, the Ditch, I got in the mind of a what I thought a rather nice and sympathetic mayor. But of course, he's also he believes very much in himself. He's very self-centered and he congratulates himself about everything he does.
In the ditch, the main character always referred any mistake to his wife or her origin or the country she come from. Why? Is this how the Dutch see anyone with different origin?
You mean like in the ditch, the wife is from a different origin?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And if the Dutch see a person from another country like really different, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I was trying to see this because, of course, there's a lot of discussion now about in America and in Europe about Black Lives Matter and racism and all this kind of thing. But I think another subtle kind of racism is with people who live in countries which are very close, who are almost neighbors, but also people feel like somebody who's from the south of Italy or from Spain or from Hungary might be very different from our own culture, and we have to be careful with this person. And I know from experience, for example, my wife, she's Spanish, but I also know from experience from other people that the Dutch, who always are so proud about their tolerance, you know, like we're so tolerant and so wonderful, and that sometimes this tolerance doesn't work at all with people only when they come from Belgium already. The Dutch look differently at, of course, the Belgians have a lot of prejudices against, I'm sure it's the same in your part of the world, that you might think of some of your neighboring countries, well, they're really different. They're different people. They have different habits, and maybe you even think, well, they're a bit ridiculous. And also other people might think about your people the same way. I also, when I'm in Spain, I feel very foreign, you know, like somebody else. And then I speak the language very well. And when I enter in a bar in Spain, they see me. I'm, for Spain standards, I'm rather tall. I'm not that tall, but I'm tall for Spain. And I see the barman looking at me like, oh my God, there's a tourist coming to the bar, have difficulty. And then I ask for a beer or something then in fluent Spanish, and they look like, what a relief, you know, this guy, we can talk with him.
لما تترجم 3 روايات لنفس الكاتب فانت هتبقى أقدر واحد يكلمنا عن طريقة هيرمان كوخ في الكتابة.
لو هتكلم على هيرمان كوخ فهو الأفكار الخاصة بيه أفكار عالمية، فيمكن ده السبب في شهرته، بسبب إن رواياته أغلبها مترجم لأغلب لغات العالم يعني. برضو هيرمان كوخ كان ليه خلفية فنية كممثل ومؤدي استعراضي، فطبعا دي برضو ألقت بظلالها على الأسلوب الروائي الخاص بيه، ومنحت أو أضفت على النصوص الخاصة برواياته الأدبية طابع خاص يمكن مش موجود قوي في الأدب الهولندي عامة، اللي هو تقريبا ما بيبقاش فيه جزئية الحيوية أو الجانب الإنساني. ده يمكن اللي بيميز روايات هيرمان كوخ، خصوصا إن هو بيعتمد في أسلوبه دايما على أسلوب الراوي، والأسلوب ده محبب للقارئ عامة، لأنه في الغالب بيبقى مفاجئ للقارئ وبيسيب عنده إحساس بالدهشة في نهاية الروايات. وفي المجمل أقدر أقول إنها كانت تجربة ممتعة جدا مع الأدب الهولندي خلال فترة بدأت من 2012 لحد السنة دي يعني، وأنا شخصيا مستمتع بها كقارئ قبل ما أكون مترجم للروايات.
في روايات كوخ دايما البطل شخصية غريبة، ما تعرفش هل هو طيب ولا شرير، تثق في كلامه ولا تشك في كل حرف بيقوله لك. هنا سألوا المترجم محمد عثمان خليفة عن سبب اعتماده على أسلوب الراوي الذي لا يمكن الاعتماد عليه.
Well, I'm very fond of unreliable narrator. Maybe I'm in real life, I'm an unreliable narrator as well. But in a way, I think we all are. You know, we all, at the moment we start to talk about a little trip we made to some village and we come back and there's no control because we didn't go with a friend, we went there alone, and we come back and some asked us, well, how did it go? Who did you meet? What happened? You can invent, you can start to invent if you like. You know, you can say, well, there was not too much to do, but I had a very interesting meeting. And then you describe a meeting maybe you had with a girl or with a woman, and instead it's only in real life you exchanged about 2 words, and then she said, well, goodbye, leave me alone. But in the story you tell a friend, you say, well, it was very interesting and now we will maybe meet again, or we will. This is the thing of making life more, or your own life more interesting. And I think this is the unreliable narrator that is in all of us. But of course, in fiction, it's very useful because it's not only what the unreliable narrator tells, but even more what he leaves out of his story.
What is the best adaptations from these? I myself watched 2 movies, so I suppose that we are talking about the one in Dutch and the American adaptation.
Okay.
In your opinion, which is the best?
For me, it's I'm sorry to say that maybe because it's the one you didn't watch, is the Italian adaptation, which is very goes on very in a free way, a free adaptation, because they based it on the novel, the central idea, but they added a lot of things that are not in the book, and I like this one the best. And
finally, what do you hope readers will take away from your novels?
From my novels in general, or from the last novel, or
no, in general, from your writing as in general.
There's not, what one thing is sure, there's not a message in my novels. There are no messages like live better or be nice to your neighbor. They are not there. Well, very hidden, maybe there are. But I think I sometimes, it's more in the details that I write things, and I hear this a lot from readers. They say, some of your characters are expressing opinions and thoughts that we thought were not allowed to think, to think. And this has a liberating effect on a lot of readers. They think, well, when somebody says this or does this or thinks this kind of thing, well, then I can be free to think the same thing as well. It's a little bit taboo breaking thing, and I hope that they like feeling free, like what we were talking about before. When you have prejudices, you shouldn't think of yourself as a bad person. You just have to admit, well, yes, I have them, but if nobody gets hurt, then nothing bad about it.